All right, not only is the biggest loss of Frame having to resort to violence, but there is no way to win a fight against a girl. Welcome, guys. Another Mids Watch. A great post by the typical poster, probably the most prolific red-pilled poster ever, u/deleted. Typical guy comes in, dumps his problems in everybody's lap, asks if he's doing it right, they give him some advice, he ignores all of it, deletes his account, and we never hear from him again. Luckily, we keep this stuff around so that other people can learn from the failures of these chodes. So this one's called Frame Maintenance and Problems with Starfish. He needs input and an assessment. How funny is that? Please give me a mark out of 10 for my life like it's the Olympic Games, which apparently we just missed. So anyways, I go running yesterday, I come back, I'm sweaty, I knock, she opens the door, we kiss, really crappy, checks or pecks on the cheek. She tries to step back, I grab her on the waist, pull her in, she pulls hard away, I look for a second, go upstairs. She goes, I was pulling you away because you're sweaty. I responded, the sweat's for you. Mistake, I shouldn't have said anything. Frame weakened. I get a wet washcloth and go outside for a walk, cool down, dry off. 5 minutes later, I go upstairs, check the computer, work thing is done, do some more stuff, and I hear dinner's ready. I go down to eat. Conversation with children and the wife where applicable, whatever the hell that means. Wife asked, do I want to go to the store and pick some outfits for the girls' photo shoot next weekend? I say, yes, I have to. I set the thing up with my gorgeous photographer friend, and my wife's eye for color scheming in the photo sucks. We go to the store, I get the outfits, she gets a purse. She pays. I take my oldest daughter outside to talk about why she's being a little bitch today. She's 5, but she's really lippy. We all leave. I'm assuming he didn't start calling her like a bitch. I think he's just talking to us, just in case there's any confusion there. At home, go upstairs to shower, get the kids ready for bed, put them in bed. I get in bed. The girl's already there. I'm shirtless. She's watching some bullshit on TV. I'm reading Married Red Pill posts on my phone. She's stroking my bicep, then my forearm, then she stops. I take my pants off, and in my underwear, we get under the covers. I'm done reading, turn back to look at her. She's looking at me and away to the TV, then back and away. And here is where my framework gets dicey. I go to kiss her, and it's half-assed. I'm rubbing her, and she's kind of just laying there. I try to keep going for a couple minutes, but she doesn't know what you think you're doing there. She tries to kiss, same shit, blah, blah, blah. And so finally, he's like, I'm just going to talk. Like, what were you doing? Why were you rubbing my arm earlier? Oh, I was just feeling your muscle. Do you like that? Oh, yeah. Do you know what you need to make those? What? And he goes, sweat. Mistake. I took escalation in the wrong direction. I made it negative. Frame weakened. It's funny that he's like completely screwing up, but he at least acknowledges where he's screwing up. So I guess it's a step in the right direction. And she asks him, like, what's your hissy fit all about? And he's like, I don't have hissy fits. A mistake. I accepted what she said was legitimate by giving it an answer. Frame weakened. You've been in a mood all day since I got home because I asked for eggs. She asked me to make eggs for breakfast when I got home, and I make good eggs or whatever. I was fine until I got back from running. That upset me a bit. Like, this is just... I can't read all of this. This goes on for way too long. But you see, here's... bad field reports. He just brain dumps his entire day as if he was watching it live on a live stream. You can see that. Here's the problem with that. A field report will tell you more about the guy and his relationship than he could possibly think he is. In this case, he's describing situations where he goes in, tries to be sexy. She rebuffs him. He has a bit of a temper tantrum, but then he's like, oh, I pretend I'm cool about it. It's like, dude, she already knows your butt hurt. Just own it. But then she asks him about it later, and then he starts arguing with her. As opposed to but it's like a weird form of negotiating desire, where instead of negotiating desire, he wants his ego salve, as opposed to getting laid. So in the case with the bicep thing, instead of sitting there wondering, like, how can I get her to acknowledge that she hurt my feelings? Just like caveman her, whatever. But whatever. She keeps doing this again. And at the end of this 5,000 word rant about what his day's on. Oh, one more thing too. So at the end of this, here's the point that I take from it. He is listing off his day as if it's a checklist of items, which means there is no importance on one thing or the other. Yes, he's able to see when he screwed up, but he's not able to pick out individual points. He has no idea what order of importance any of these things go in, and so he's literally clueless. In fact, there was a term that we came up for guys like this. It's called going Rambo. And that's the problem with when they ask for counsel or advice, or am I doing this right, or is this alpha male enough, or is this Ferrari level Lambo, or what? It's that they wouldn't know if what they changed succeeded because they don't know what they're looking at. They're just letting life happen. They're doing things, and then things happen, and then they resolve by acting emotional towards it. It's just not the way to work. So unfortunately for guys like this, they're pretty clueless, and it's a pretty good chance that he didn't figure this out and he just went off to go do his old thing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we kicked him out and then he started doing this. Anyways, we'll skip to the end of it though. So let me see. I'll start here. So I instructed with the progression. I pulled her in. She hates doing the work. I don't care. I made her ride me until I finished, rolled her over so the mess didn't get on me, rolled over next to her, and then made her stay with me until she fell asleep. Usually she tries to run for the bathroom straight away. Nor orgasm either. Lately, I've started to care less and less about it. If she doesn't care, why should I? I know that I should have avoided this whole thing and just left her when Starfish Body Language made its appearance. I'm still training. I haven't gotten to this ability yet. I just bought No More Mr. Nice Guy last night too. I should have mentioned this too. Do you see this though? This guy's been doing Red Pill for forever now. Hasn't even started with No More Mr. Nice Guy. Like, that's literally, before you even open your mouth, there's two things you should have. A copy of the Nice Guy book and a gym membership. He's got the gym. He's been working out for a while. He's been sweating. Didn't even bother to look at his Nice Guy stuff. And that's why his whole thing looks like a giant Nice Guy covert contract. And Jack himself is even, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I mean this in the most constructive way possible when I tell you this. But you need to learn to shut the fuck up. I think you already recognize this because you have a frame weakened after pretty much everything that came out of your mouth. More specifically, here's some thoughts I had in response. Anyways, as I leave, she says, I was pulling away because you were sweaty. He's like, do you look good naked? Honest question. Not just, well, I'm fit and in good shape for my age. That's good and miles ahead for most guys, but that's not the same thing. It's tough for me to stay in that kind of shape year round, but when I am, my wife notices and doesn't mind me being sweaty. But when I'm too skinny and flabby, then there's no spontaneous tingles when we have to be in the mood, which basically means more sex when she starfishes for the first 5 minutes before actually warming up. He brings up the bedroom, watching some bullshit on TV, and Jack's like, for what it's worth, I believe that TVs in the bedroom is the libido killer. Get rid of it. No, really. If you're in bed, you should either be reading a book, talking to your wife, or fucking. It sounds like you do some sort of work that requires a computer so you get enough screen time during the day. Do you really need more? And here's where everything went off the rails. It already looks like you already realize it, but for the sake of the audience, what the fuck was the point of asking, do you know what you need to make those muscles? What was the point of that? It's not making things negative. Instead of asking, what else do you like? Or do you know what I like? You revisit the whole sweat argument that you had earlier. Why are you even thinking about the sweat thing? Your sexual market value isn't even high enough to create spontaneous tingles in your wife when you're sweaty. And he brings up where she was like, yeah, your hissy fit. Is that what the hissy fit was about? He's like, I'm not even going to address the whole hamstering, the victim puke you had with your wife, because hopefully you recognize how awful it was to complain to her about this stuff. But I want to mention this. The fact that she thinks you had a hissy fit may be a signal you aren't actually internalizing outcome independence. You're still fighting with your beta shit goblin. Because I love the term, by the way. And if there's anything redeeming about this post, is that you sharing it with us and keeping score in your head about your intentions helps us out. This is literally the scoreboard, by the way, that Jack talks about, where it's learn it so you can forget it and start enjoying it. Right now, he sees this as a scoreboard. He's playing against his wife. She keeps putting numbers on the board, and he just doesn't know how to beat her, but it's reactive and it doesn't work. Anyways, he goes, this causes two things. One, because you're fighting the beta shit goblin, which I'll explain what that is in a different episode. Your actions aren't coming across as nearly as naturally as you want. I mean, have you ever argued with somebody about the directions you're taking while you're driving? Eventually you say, shut the fuck up, I know where I'm going. And then, like, 90% chance you make a wrong turn somewhere because you're so annoyed that they kept questioning you. In other words, even if you're winning the fights, the fact that you have to have a fight at all is causing the things you do or to say not come off nearly as alpha as you want them to. Something in your voice inflection or body language is being impacted, and that's fine. If everybody here was naturally gifted, we wouldn't be here. There's always going to be a degree of fake it till you make it. But this is where we fuck up when we say things like, that sweat's for you. But instead of like alpha or cocky and funny, it comes across as like butthurt because, well, the beta shit goblin is telling us that we're butthurt. And then when we think, okay, brush that dirt off my shoulder, I'm just going to focus on the things I need to do, we do so in a way that our sentences and our body languages comes closed off because we're still thinking, the same thing. And that's where the mistake is. It's the overcompensation. So that little goblin inside of you is like, don't make a move on your wife. You're all gross and sweaty. And you told him to shut the fuck up. And now you made a move and she didn't respond the way you wanted. Just like the asking for directions, right? So now the goblin's dancing in your head saying, see, I told you. And then he comes up later, has all these arguments. And so he's like, and Jack's like, this is what I meant by shut the fuck up. What I'm really saying is, you need to stop having conversations with your wife that are really just a proxy for an argument you're having with that little, beta shit goblin you have in your head. Because doing that has pretty much had the opposite effect of whatever you're looking to do. You'll reach another level of red pill when you don't even need to deal with that shit at all. You may not be there yet. I know I'm not. I still get butthurt constantly. If you grew up with a codependent personality trait where you put a lot of your own validation and others' approval, like I did, it's hard to stop being butthurt every day. Some of you guys will actually be able to kill that guy. I've already accepted that I can't, but I can do it enough times to mitigate his presence so I don't let a minor occurrence like, ew, you're sweaty, turn into an evening of feeding the hamster and wrecking my frame. So for what it's worth, doing household tasks when I'm butthurt is usually a bad conversation. I'm too closed off, too much in a let's get this shit over with attitude because of lingering resentment. It's too easy to ask for the wife, what's your deal? And then have to deny I have a deal when I actually do. Very clearly have a big fucking deal. That deal was I felt rejected because she acted repulsed when I was sweaty or whatever. So another tip, blame your deal, what's your deal, on something else. When my wife asks me what's your deal, I don't say nothing because her hamster is waiting for an answer and will insist on coaxing one out of me, but is already prepared to be on the defensive, so I just blame it on something else. Thinking about work, we have a big client meeting later this week, blah, blah, blah. Shuts that shit down. Then if she says something like, is that why you were running off miles ahead of me? And I was like, was I? I don't know. Just play aloof. And he ends off with a quote from the guy that I know I could have avoided the whole thing and just left when her starfish body language made its appearance. It's like, well, your wife still fucked you despite that gross display of absolute unattractiveness. I mean, you literally negotiated desire with your entire word vomit about rubbing biceps and feet, which would cause pretty much any woman's vagina to dry up and shut down. Yet she still fucked you. You don't want to make this a habit, but you should take this as a signal that you're in a much better position than a lot of other guys here. And I think you mainly want to start having more natural tingles, and I think you solve this by continuing just to improve. Along the way, you'll get reminders that you're not quite high enough from time to time, and when that happens, just think to yourself, all right, I'm not there yet, but I will be soon. Focus on that. So, my own thoughts on this, and it's amazing. You've probably heard, if you've been in this space for any length of time, that your ego is not your friend. Your ego's not there to help you, and that it gets in the way. I remember, we get posts like this all the time where some guy would try and do some, alpha male crap with his wife. His wife would shoot him down. He starts acting all butthurt. And you realize it's not because he's trying to achieve a goal, which in this case is a healthy relationship and a better sex life. It's because his ego wants vindication. And I found the best answer for these now is that sure showed her, you're the fucking man. And you get a smart guy, he kind of pauses and understands, okay, so why? And that's really what it comes down to. Why did you say that dumb shit you just said? And a guy will understand it eventually. I said it because she hurt my feelings, and I want her to hurt too. Which is a very chick thing to do. Again, men raised like defective women to a T. That's why shut the fuck up works. You won't win the attraction game with it, but you won't fuck yourself over like you did this guy did. So keep that one in mind. And then a lot of this stuff, again, I love these because it's so crude. I forgot how rough and unpolished the red pill was this 7-8 years ago. It was just fun, But that's the other thing too. So I think you've heard me say in multiple posts and videos and whatever, it's like, don't care, got laid. I know it's a section in my book. Don't care, got laid. I find a lot of guys are so focused on all these details. I think Rich Cooper used to say guys complicate their lives and then wonder why it's all messed up or whatever his quote is. You guys know it. I don't want to steal it anyway. This is it. Like, his job here is he wants his wife to be attracted to him sexually, even when he's like extra sweaty or whatever. So when he's doing that, what he has to think about when he's opening his mouth and talking about being butthurt, does that get me closer or further from this goal? And that was really the loss of frame he had here. Not all this other crap he was talking about. That right there. If you remember nothing else from this post, just remember this. When you're doing something, is this aligned with what I'm trying to achieve? And if the answer is no, stop fucking doing it. If you don't know what to do in its place, just don't do anything. Just shut up. And I know a lot of guys love, and this is the follow-up question that's happened as many times as is, am I doing this right? Well, won't she think I'm butthurt? And I'm here to tell you, and you've seen it right here, she already thinks you're butthurt. Just own it. I do like Jack's plan there about offing it. I have a bit of a different technique in my own life to deal with it, though. So if you don't know, I must have what I would consider to be a resting bitch face to some extent. If I'm just sitting, minding my own business, spacing out, letting my brain wind down after a hard day of playing Minecraft or whatever, and then the girl looks over, what's the matter? What's wrong? Now, I don't know if she's mad and she wants to get a conversation about anger started or what. And I used to be like, nothing's wrong, whatever. She goes, no, you can tell me what's wrong. And she'd keep asking me what's wrong so much until it pissed me off, and then I got mad. It's like, why didn't you just tell me you were mad? And I was like, brah. What did Bill Burr say? Like, roll her up into a yoga mat and throw her behind the sofa. But then I realized it's like, what she's asking is, emotionally, I feel like you're angry. I need you to reflect my emotions and validate them towards me. And I found one of the best approaches to that, and I wouldn't know if I want to call this a green amplify, but I'm gonna. What's wrong? Oh, I'm just pissed off at my woman. She goes, what? I'm like, it's what you wanted to hear, wasn't it? And it's that weird way where, like, you give somebody what they want and then they realize they don't mean it. And then she'll always get the stunts like, oh, I don't want you to be mad. All right then. And then just move on from there. It's a weird little thing. And it's, we shouldn't have tips and tricks, but I like Jack's too, where he's just like, I'm just pissed off. Trudeau enacted the War Measures Act. It sets me off. But oftentimes you can really just do this. It's like, and this is the core of the communication too. Like I said, it's from her emotional state. But remember, solipsistic. Women are solipsistic. It's about her. So if you're angry, you must be angry at her. So what she's asking is, why are you mad at me? Not, hey, what's the matter? Why are you angry? Are you mad at me? And if you say, no, I'm not mad at you, she's going to assume you're lying. But if you just say literally anything else, cocky funny, laugh it off, tell her you are mad, and then laugh at her for taking you seriously, whatever. It does. And this is why I wasn't sure if I wanted to call it a green amplify, because it's kind of fogging too. Because if you don't know the topic of fogging, and if you don't know what any of these terms mean, by the way, go read No More Mr. Nice Guy. I've had it on the sidebar for like 2 years now. If you haven't read it, then you shouldn't be listening to these anyway. Go on there. But the purpose of fogging is a way of acknowledging your girl's emotional state without validating the particular emotion. Does that make sense? Because it's... Actually, you know what? I'll give you a good example here. Let's say your girl's angry. She's micking off. And you're like, hey, calm down. Now, out of the 100 times doing that, how many times did she actually calm down after you told her to? Probably 0.0. So that's invalidating your emotions. Your emotions aren't serious. They don't exist. They're not real. And according to her, they're absolutely real. Is it good? Is it bad? It is what it is. On the other hand, if instead of invalidating those, you just do something simple. I can see how you'd feel that way. I'm not going to go with you on this journey, but you're welcome to do what you do. Be mad if you need to, and then get over it. Acknowledges you had emotions. They're probably real to you. Changes nothing. And it's harder to explain than it is to practice. So I do hope if you guys have these situations in your life, give these things a shot. See how they work for you. Anyways, I'm going to let you go on that one, because I think we got just about enough red pill for one day. I'll catch you guys on the next one, though. Cheers.